Well, good, strong, aggressive key forward, Pete. I reckon that's pretty much why we got you here, Dawesy. What do you think?
Yeah, I reckon that sounds about right. I think they can expect a lot of effort and a big target up forward, and hopefully a bit of leadership around the place too.
Dawes, you obviously used to be a Collingwood assistant. How does it feel this morning being a Melbourne jumper and having training with the boys?
Yeah, well, obviously a changed environment, but exciting, and at the moment it's been all about trying to learn names and faces and where to go around the place, but it's really exciting, and I think, and that's the way I've been approaching this move, is just embrace everything and really enjoy it.
What differences have you noticed?
Well, it's all been pretty quick at the moment. I suppose the main thing is just slightly different programs and ways of doing things in terms of monitoring and processes that we go through. Game plan wise, I haven't really sunk my teeth into it too much, and if I did know the differences, I wouldn't tell you guys. But no, I think the main thing is I've just been trying to acquaint myself with the boys and get to know everyone as best I can.
We saw Rob Harvey come up to you at training today in his Hollywood colours and shake your hand and say g'day. No hard feelings over the departure from the Magpies?
I wouldn't imagine so. I haven't spoken to too many people from the club, but I can't see why there would be. I left the club, a club that I'd won a premiership at, that it was sort of mutually beneficial for me to move on, and so I can't say, I carried myself well there, and I gave them everything I had, and now I'm ready to do that for Melbourne.
Part and parcel of life, Dawesy, obviously footy as well, but how did you sort of take the news when they initially said to you, look, perhaps it's best if we part ways, or you look through from the club, like how do you sort of cope with that?
Well, I think the way I approached it was to try and digest it and take the emotion out of it and actually think it through for a few days and work out where it was that I wanted to be to best enjoy my footy career. And so for me, the choices were, do I stay at Collingwood, which I was entitled to do, it was my choice, or am I going to enjoy myself and will my footy benefit more from going to a new organisation? And Melbourne seemed like the best fit for me in terms of the great young playing group we've got, and the skills I have and the way I can impart some of that leadership and stuff on the younger group and bring this club back up to where it belongs was just too attractive a prospect to turn down.
Which organisations, which clubs were in the mix, and why Melbourne?
Well, look, Melbourne were the best fit in terms of the younger playing group, and I really rate their young talent, and I think there was a role for me there. It was a really exciting prospect to be able to work up forward with Mitch Clark and Neeld, who I really rated as a coach, and he's learnt from probably the best coach of the modern era, I think, and Lee Brown. I think the coaching side of things was really important for me, and I think Neild's style of coaching is one that I'm really going to respond to, and I think he'll get me playing my best footy.
Is there a perception that you'll that you want to play purely as a stay-at-home forward and not in the ruck? Would that be?
I don't know. Well, that's not a perception I've heard of, but I can imagine why that would be, because I didn't handle the ruck role this year that I played for Collingwood as well as I would have liked, and it wasn't a natural role for me. It's nothing I've said that I'm not willing to do it, but I think it seems like I've played my best football as a permanent forward.
Will this new environment and being back alongside Mark, you think, Dawesy, help you rediscover your best football that you perhaps didn't see this year?
I think so. I think it's not so much rediscovering as continuing to grow, but I certainly think this environment and working with Neeld and Lee Brown and the other coaching staff Neeld's assembled, I think that's going to get me playing the football I'm capable of.
How much of a part did the Quinton Lynch signing play in you deciding to leave?
Well, I suppose that was a factor, just in terms of the way it was communicated to me by Bucks, was that they've brought in someone to play that role that I wasn't able to play as well as what they would have hoped this year, in terms of having a forward who can play in the ruck. But for me, that was part of it, not the whole thing. I think for me it was wanting to change the environment was definitely good. Being able to work alongside some of the young talent that Melbourne has and the coaching that they offer, I think was a really attractive prospect.
There was a perception that he lost a bit of confidence towards the end of last year. Is that right, or was it just you weren't comfortable playing that role and you just want to get back to being that?
The end of last year is in 2012 or 2011?
So last season.
Okay.
There was a perception that you dropped confidence, certainly compared to the year before. Is that on the money, or were you just not happy in that role?
I suppose, yeah, eventually it could have become a confidence thing because my output was, I wasn't having the impact on games I would have liked in terms of my good games were no better than my average games, and I sort of wasn't having those standout games as much as what I would have hoped, and I sort of just kept ticking along and they were grinding out games but never really felt free. So I suppose there was a bit of confidence there, and I'm hoping that this new environment will get me back playing that good confident football that I'm capable of. And I think, even just a pre-season, had it been at Collingwood or here, I think the pre-season's a good chance to refresh, rediscover confidence and really approach a season head on.
Your injuries hold you back at all? Was it that you might hurt your hand at one stage and you had to use one substitute?
Yeah, I've had a few injuries, but I'm certainly not alone in that. Most players carry injuries, and the really bad ones you hear about, but most of them you don't. And that's part of being an elite footballer, is being able to play hurt at times and manage pain to an extent. And I had my share, but I don't think I can use that as an excuse or as a sole reason for a lack of form.
You know some of the processes for the best club in the competition in terms of the way people train, or their hair, their attitude, how they react to situations. Will you be able to impart some of that in this group, do you think?
That's certainly something Neeld I've spoken about, and it's an organisation that Neeld knew intimately as well. I think you want that in any place. You want people who are successful and know success and know what it takes to achieve that. So with my coming from a club that was one of the better clubs for the last 3 to 4 years, I'll certainly be taking any knowledge I have of that and any in terms of shaping the culture of this club and the standards that we set. I'll be giving anything I've got.
How excited are you to play alongside a player of talent such as Mitch Clark? He says he's very excited to play alongside yourself. Are you pretty pumped to?
I am, yeah, and as I said, that was a factor in my wanting to come to Melbourne. I was so impressed with the way he held that. He was the focal point in that forward line this year. At Brisbane, I knew he was talented, but I didn't realise he was quite the player he was when he got to Melbourne. And he impressed me a lot just watching him as an outsider this season just gone. So the opportunity to play alongside him is really exciting, especially given we're expecting to form a pretty powerful tandem for the next few years.
Chris, just ask where you were when the official news of the trade went through, and then what was after that? You bring family and friends. What was the reaction after that?
I suppose I was speaking with my manager throughout, and I'd met with Melbourne just before I left to go overseas. So I was in the United States. I think I was in Pebble Beach or San Francisco when I actually got word of it, and we'd confirmed that we were going to go to Melbourne, and so that was really exciting for Paige, for my girlfriend and I, and from there it was a matter of thanking the other clubs who I'd met with, thanking Collingwood for the time and effort they'd put into me, and then notifying immediate family, teammates and close friends.
Chris, you ended the season with a knee injury. What impact will that have on your pre-season and start of pre-season?
I think it'll just mean that it's sort of the next couple of weeks may be a bit gradual. Certainly nothing that's going to hold me back in terms of getting my fitness base well and truly sorted. It may be, from a contact perspective, I ease into it, but that's not sort of uncommon at this time of year anyway.
And Mark, just another word from you. Obviously Chris was in the spotlight last year. He's the biggest club in the land in terms of his form. He was really under the pump in terms of public perception, perhaps internally. Are you really confident that he has a lot to offer and can turn that form around immediately come season 2013?
Yeah, sure. Dawsey was one of the players that we targeted, and already it's been brought up. There's a number of reasons why we did that. He's 24 years of age. He's a key forward. He's going to be playing AFL footy for a long time. We certainly wanted to go out and bolster our experience across the board. You know, he's played 70-odd games. In that, I think 4 or 5 final series, played in a couple of grand finals, has a premiership. We see him, along with Mitch, Cam Pedersen, Jesse Hogan, forming a really good relationship in our forward half for quite a few years. And, you know, it's very, I suppose, rare that someone of that calibre is on the move in trade week. And when they are, and you're in the market for one, you've got to do the best thing by your club and have a crack at them. And that's exactly what we did. And, you know, we're really, really pleased that Dawsey has chosen to come and play footy here.
And in terms of his form, you have no doubts?
I've been involved with Dawsey in the past and seen him play some exceptionally good quality AFL footy, and you know, I've got no doubt that that's what he'll offer.
Mark, big changes in player turnover. Chris is just one of a number of players who've come in, a lot have gone out. Are you happy with what you've done in the trade period?
Yes, we are. We were really keen throughout that trade and free agency period to have a look at all 3 avenues to try and improve our list. You know, exactly the same as what all clubs are doing. You know, the first time free agency was in, and we know that, you know, trade exists, and now we've got the national draft, and you know, we did as good a job as we possibly could. We were really pleased with the way that month unfolded.
Are you close to getting as you want, or is there still more that you have to do? I guess I'm not talking about this year. Maybe
Yeah. Look, the way that AFL lists work now, and you know, we saw it firsthand with the first introduction of a month-long period that list turnover. You know, like you guys, I suppose, read a lot about what happens, and you know, most clubs, the turnover of players is significant. If you have a look at Sydney, who won the premiership, you know, not that long ago, you know, there's 10 players have left that footy club, and I think Collingwood was 12, and so that range of, you know, 10 to 12 to 14 is probably going to become the norm.
I know they only learned his first season, but will Chris be strongly considered for a leadership position?
We'll have to interview some of his teammates and see how we go. There'll be we've got a process that we'll put in place that players wishing to join the leadership group or remain in the leadership group, they'll need to nominate. It'll be based on a certain criteria, and then in our pre-season camp in Darwin, the players will sit down and vote on that. So
is that something you're interested in, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. I think I've always rated my own leadership qualities, and it's something that if I'm in a position of leadership, I'm sure that'll bring out the best football in me. And as Neeld said, it'll be a matter of if all my teammates feel that's appropriate, and if I feel that's appropriate. You know, you've got to bear in mind it's my first day here, so I haven't sort of felt the place out yet. I think that's certainly something I'm interested in, but we'll deal with that down the track when it's the appropriate time.
Mark, with so many new faces, what sort of challenges is that going to present for you as a coach through the pre-season and coming into the new season with game plan, whatever that's going to be?
Look, a little few, but again, you know, AFL clubs that's what you're used to, and you know, I've come out of an environment where that was standard, and we're about improving the footy club, having the opportunity over summer to, you know, put our head down and work as hard as we can, and just see how we go, and that's philosophy we'll take into summer.
Mark, this one on the draft, it must be a bit of a relief you can go with all your picks in hand.
Absolutely, yeah, it is. Yeah, we're looking forward to the draft. You know, as I said, you know, we had a look at free agency, did some trading, and we've got a few picks coming up next Thursday, and want to use them as best we can.
Tom Gillies as well, give some word about him.
Yeah, Tom, player that we added through a free agency yesterday. Tom's been training with us for a little while. Another player that we tracked over time, and you know, we believe our list is stronger for having Tom on it. He's 22 years of age, key position size, coming out of a really good system. He's quite a big lad, so you know, his work ethic in the gym and on the track. You know, we did some background work on him there, and that all was really, really good. And you know, again, at his age and the position that he plays and the way that he carries himself, you know, we believe he's got a good future here.
I just want on a slightly different topic. The new boss of Etihad Stadium has flagged turning the AFL a little bit more like the NBA with more pre- and post-game entertainment, bells and whistles. What's your take on that? Maybe a change in direction for the game?
Oh, look, hard to comment on comments that I haven't heard, but from a coaching point of view, I've been involved grand final day, and you don't hear or see any entertainment whatsoever. So look, my job's to coach Melbourne, and I'll do that. I don't have an opinion right now. Ring me later. I'll think about it. That's all right.